This is an extremely important election for Sri Lanka. And here I'm referring to the presidential election, which constitutionally should be between September and October. Quite simply, yes, we are bankrupt. But I think more than that, the social contract in the country is in pieces. We have a serious crisis of governance. No single institution functions in the way that it ought to. We have a president who is in the remarkable position of having been the only member of parliament of his party, then being selected by parliament to govern the country. Now, as far as the elections are concerned, in Sri Lanka, we've had elections over the years with emergency, with a JVP insurgency, we've had war, all of that. And so I don't think that is a problem as such. The issue, I think, as far as the presidential election is concerned, and I'll come to the substantive issues, but the issue in terms of the presidential election is that for the first time, we have a three-cornered fight. Before that, it was two main contenders, but this time round, we have a three-cornered fight. We have the incumbent, Ranil Wickremesinghe, the leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, and Anura Kumara Dissanayake, who is the head of the National People's Alliance. However, he is the leader of the JVP. And the JVP, of course, was the organization that in 88, 89, and before that in 1971, launched an insurrection against the state. And 88, 89 was particularly bloody and vicious. Now, the key thing that is going to dominate the election campaign is, of course, the economy. I think there is no getting away from the fact that the economy is up front and central in everyone's minds. And we're looking towards one of the contenders, at least, well, of the three main ones, to provide us with a way out of it. Now, the Ranil Wickremesinghe government has gone to the IMF. There is an IMF deal. We are probably going to get the second tranche of a 2.9 billion assistance for debt restructuring. And to be fair to the government on the economic side, I think they are doing fairly well in that they have managed to establish a certain amount of stability, a certain amount of a pattern of stability as far as the economics of the country is concerned. Where the government has been particularly problematic is on the human rights and civil liberties front. When Mr. Wickremesinghe became president, he turned around and said that the Aragalaya was, in effect, being captured by those extreme elements of the JVP who want to take power by force and change the narrative of the Aragalaya, the struggle that got rid of the Rajapaksas. As a consequence, the middle class have actually deserted the Aragalaya. And you have almost daily arrests of activists on social media for criticizing the government. Now, I'm not quite sure whether this is entirely Mr. Wickremesinghe's position, or as to whether because when he came into office, he didn't have, or he couldn't rely wholeheartedly on the support of anyone. He looked to the security forces to watch his back. And the security forces have sort of acted as if all their Christmases have come together, and they have come up with the draft of the Anti-Terrorism Act to replace the current Prevention of Terrorism Act. They've used the ICCPR in ways that it was never intended to be used. They brought the Online Safety Act, which is absolutely abysmal. And even the service providers have turned around and said that, you brought this act and it's going to affect all of Sri Lanka's prospects as far as economic performance and all of that is concerned. The bill was passed despite the Supreme Court coming up with some 51 amendments to it. 31 were, I think, included in the bill that was passed. And now the government says that it will reintroduce a new bill, which will include all the amendments suggested by the Supreme Court.